Peace and greetings, everyone. This is Jahi Far. I'm creating this video to touch on a very simple topic, but it is dear to most people, and that's the topic of overeating. I want to talk about this topic because we're going into a season again where we're already in fall, and fall will bring way to winter. And this is the time, these two seasons are the time that people do the most eating. And that's simply because we're in the house more, we're not out jogging, running as much in the winter months than we are in the spring and summer months. So I think this is a good time to talk and have a discussion and give feedback to each other in regards to overeating, and then some ways that we can overcome that. Again, I know overeating is a topic that's dear to me personally because, hey, I'm a foodie. I love to eat. I love to cook. I love to chop up things. I love to make fruit salads. I love to make mushroom dishes with rice. So I love to cook. And sometimes, in my past, I've found myself doing a lot of overeating, eating more than I know my stomach could bear. So I know that the topic is very important to a lot of other people that I've spoken with who are suffering from a lot of degenerative diseases which result and root cause come from overeating. All right, so I want to point out an acronym that will help people remember some of the triggers that contribute to overeating. And the acronym is C.H.E.M.S. You spell it, it's C.H.E.M.S. C.H.E.M.S. And this acronym is the abbreviation for chemicals, which, most things that go into the body to provide stimulation and communicate with the cells turns into a chemical first and foremost, and then a mist in order to get into the bloodstream. But chemical, at the chemical level is when it's at the molecular level, at the level of being in the digestive system and being able to be carried throughout the body. Okay, so chemical. So if you think of the word chems, is short for chemicals, and it's abbreviated as C.H.E.M.S. And what that means is cravings, habits, emotions, media, sugar, and salt. I use S to denote both sugar and salt because they're the brother and sister drugs, sugar and salt. So to go through it one by one, starting off with the first letter, which is C, meaning cravings. And how cravings contribute to overeating is if a person is not in a balanced state, first and foremost, or if a person is not in a healthy state, a homeostasis state, then more than likely the cravings aren't good for that person. The cravings are usually coming from parasites, worms, yeast, and bacteria overflow within the body that makes the person yearn or crave for a certain food. And in most cases, their craving is for artificial sweeteners. So craving is most importantly a trigger to watch out for. What are you craving for? And if you know that you're craving for artificial sweetness, then in most cases your body's in a degenerative state. In some cases, craving could be a good thing. For example, if a person is in a healthy state, they don't have anything wrong with any of the 11 basic systems in their body, they haven't been diagnosed with any kind of illness or things of that nature, then in that particular instance, a craving could be good, because if a person's working out, then more than likely they are going to be craving some water or some juice, or they're going to be craving something with a water base to it, such as some fruit, some grapes, some apples, or something like that. And that's when you're in a homeostasis state. That's when you're in a balanced state that cravings are good for you. However, again, to point out, if you're craving for something that's artificial, such as a candy bar or some ice cream is artificial, then your body's most likely in a degenerative state, and that leads to overeating more than likely. The second trigger to watch out for is habits. Your habits that may have been formed in childhood, your habits that may have been formed from a past relationship, uh, a habit that's been formed and you know it's degenerative, and you know it's bad for you, such as um, just eating late at night or always eating at buffets when you know you prone to overeat. That habit um, will trigger and continue to trigger people to overeat, and thus the end result is degenerative diseases. So the second thing is habits. The third thing is emotions. Emotions are another key factor in overeating, specifically because emotions trigger different chemicals in the body to be produced. For example, if you're happy all the time, or the end result of seeing some food and then eating some food is happiness, then you know that more neurotransmitters are being produced based off of you eating that food, such as dopamine or endorphins or things like that being produced in the body after you eat food. So that will trigger you to eat food to get that result. So your emotions, being happy or looking at food as a way to become happy, is a trigger that you have to watch out for, because then that's your upper, and you can't really seek to get happy other than eating food. That's very, very dangerous. That's something that we need to be aware of and watch out for. Another emotion: anger, sadness, depression, other emotions. I know myself, when I was younger, I used to get depressed a lot. And one of the ways that I would alleviate that depression is by, eating some artificial candy or something like that, because it would give you that upper. It would help you to produce those dopamines in the brain, or have those dopamines send signals throughout the body that now you feel better. It's a drug, really, that's being produced in the body. So those emotions, we have to find ways to trigger happiness without seeking some outside appeasement. Very important to watch out for. So the next trigger is media. Huge thing to try to control. I mean, of course, you can't control media per se, but you can control the media in your circle, such as the television, as people call it, the internet. You can control what you stare at when you're outside, such as the billboard that may have people on there eating at a buffet or eating a hamburger or something like that. Don't stare at it, because it feeds into your subconscious. So controlling the media that you take in, and again, the television. If you're watching a show and a commercial come on advertising different food, turn and then come back. Internet, a lot of pop-ups and things that come out when you go out to different websites. They have a lot of different media there to entice the mind to think about eating. Most of it is for eating. Other things probably, but mostly it's for eating. So a way to control that: navigate away from that page. Try not to let your mind center on that. Try to control what the subconscious take in without you being conscious of it. So try to alleviate that from even entering your mind. So media is the fourth trigger to watch out for. The fifth and final trigger is sugar and salt. And I have to point sugar and salt out, or I have to point out that these are two drugs that are taken by virtually everyone on the planet, especially in the modern developed countries throughout the world. More people use sugar, number one drug, and salt, number two drug, than any other drug on the planet. Not alcohol, which sugar turns into alcohol, but I mean actually drinking liquor, or actually taking cocaine in a processed state, or crack, or heroin. No, it is sugar and salt, which is used by virtually every person in a modern world. Um, and why? And I have to point out that Sugar and salt are triggers that provide that dopamine that I was talking about earlier. So you eat the food because you get more sugar, and that sugar uh, promotes the production of dopamine and endorphins in the brain. It promotes that feeling of happiness. It promotes that feeling of feeling good. This is what sugar does. And sugar is put in virtually every processed food you can think of. Sugar. And then its sister or brother drug, salt. So we have to be careful of the sugar and salt intake, because that again triggers us to overeat, because we want to constantly get those feelings of joyfulness, of happiness, of elation, as people call it. So again, to point out the the um, the word again, I almost forgot it. It's C.H.E.M.S. C.H.E.M.S. Cravings, habits, emotions, media, salt, and sugar. Be careful of those triggers, because they always promote overeating. Try to control them within the body instead of seeking an outside source to control the chemicals within the body. I think that's very, very important. Um, and discipline. Discipline is key, because without discipline, you won't be able to control those emotions. You won't be able to control your bodily habits and things of that nature. You won't be more willing to change those bodily habits without discipline. So discipline is key in changing virtually any habit, any craving that you may have. It's going to require work. It's going to require time. You're going to fall. You're going to fail. But the key is to keep trying. To keep trying, man. Be disciplined. Be consistent in your goal of becoming more healthy, more holistic, more in a state of homeostasis, which is just a balanced health. Whereas though you don't need any external force or any external substance to help you, other than your basic diet, to help you stay healthy and to help you stay rejuvenated, or help you become more rejuvenated. It will require discipline. Again, to repeat and reiterate it again, the triggers to watch out for are cravings, your overall habits, your emotions, media, and your intake of salt and sugar, chems. I hope this video has been insightful, has been helpful. Any questions, comments, and concerns are always welcome. Thanks. Peace.